Good. Thank you, Tiffany, for paying attention. There will be a quiz at the end. We'll keep on going with the sexy ones, I guess. The embrace. Engulfed in candlelight, lovers embrace, clenching in an effort to mend their souls. Joined hearts racing, trying to keep the pace with an eternal force lacking controls. Higher and closer, their souls keep dancing together in their own shared ecstasy. Warm skin on skin, the passion enhancing, raising yet again the intensity. Grasping for infinity as one, their souls break through the barrier of time. New joy found in eternity has come. The two as one now share in what's divine. Mend me, my love, with your divinity. Dance with my soul for all eternity. Coffee Girl. Radiant energy enchants my eyes, wearily waking, looking towards the east. They see a new day's rejuvenated skies, warming, illuminating light released. A glorious union, the earth and sun. Together forever, his light provides the energy she shares with everyone, the birds and bees and coffee trees besides. Harvested of earth, the coffee bean is compact solar energy that's brewed to isolate and concentrate caffeine, with which we find our energy renewed. Caffeine merely wakes my body and tries to match how your beauty does energize. Oh, here's another coffee-related sonnet. Black blood. Darkness was my downfall, falling faster. The sun's a demon now, I dare not see. When the darkness in my soul is master, I'm up all night, delight awakens me. Darkness was my downfall, rising higher as my routine altered outside daylight. For when in those throes of dark desire, the succubae's sweet offer is so right. Darkness was my downfall, never knowing when first I let it pass my virgin lips that this brew could become so controlling, ever needing 10,000 more dark sips. How do I know I can't the darkness stop? Just cut me, and I'll bleed one thick, black drop. All right, I think I'll turn more political now, maybe, or something. So, shades of history, I guess. In the beginning was shudder and light, as if there was something that lived before the snap, perhaps it was some keen insight or lurid look of some provocateur. So now, what is but a moment seen until the day it is no more again, captured by the smallest of time machines of light and lens and eye and what and when. The past gets dragged into the future world, triggering and ushering memory. Grand stories told without a single word when looking at those shades of history. What future shades will there remain of us, the ones that our descendants will discuss? When hammers fall more often than the raindrops on the ground, and there should be plowed fields at home prepared for planting grain crops, that time it is the time of sword and shield. When the wail of the wind and storm drowns out death cries and provides some relief to the living who are weary and worn, that time it is a time when war is called peace. When the raven reveals a watchful eye, but moves less warily to cheat the corpse, and soon ignores even the living's cries, that time it is a time of man no more. So as the legacy of man retreats, the beasts that we've subdued take back our streets. Heated and hammered in hardened steel, sharpened shard of a fallen meteor, a wooden handle touched by lightning's peal, and a pommel of heaviest earthen ore. The blood-groove fills, flowing in gruesome feast, when unleashed in the hands of noble knight astride his barded, snorting, hellish beast, ordained by lord and land, and trained to fight. But sometimes the sword trumps the nobility, and the fury of the elements wins the war waging between humanity and the rising army of all our sins. What of the knights alive ordained today? Think you sword or nobility holds sway? Here's a Rubea for you. There are former fighters who have battled more than I, and have had their bones rattled by worse than bludgeon blade or charge of lance. They speak of love, and we call them addled. All right, I'll give you another one. Please stop and smell the roses as you go, the ones with the scent of something for your nose, because on the day the shit hits the fan, you'll have the scent of roses that you know. A few more sonnets, I think. All right, here's one. I don't have this one titled. There was a new beginning in the end of all there ever was that was before the end that came. There's no way to defend from magma slowly rising from the core. Old instruments, though they were few, they told a tale of measurements, tried and true, honed from years of knowing what would unfold when we found out what they already knew. So, science said to move away or die a crushing, suffocating, fiery death. And half the population did and tried persuading those who seemed to act quite deaf. Then the end came when the caldera blew and half of what once was began anew. I guess that one was like, okay, half the population is in denial of climate change and everything that science says, and the other half listens. So whenever something happens that's going to request people to, be smart, we'll have a little population cleanse.
Did you hear about the guy who was snowball on the floor of the Senate, like yesterday?
No.
It's like, global warming my ass! It's like one of our elected officials.
Yeah, I know. That doesn't mean, boy, it's getting a lot snowier, isn't it? It gets really hot in the summer now and really cold in the winter, right?
Yeah, that has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, that has nothing to do. Nah, just jump into these other ones. We'll go on here. How much time have I got left? I didn't check my... Okay. I'll read some haikus and then...
do a little impromptu.
Yeah, and then do some stuff and do some impromptu. I've got some kind of, free verse sort of ones that I've been writing and stuff. So anyway, a few haikus for you. Haiku 1. The masquerade. Every day we dance the dance. The masks become flesh. Little whirlwinds only serve to distract us from the tornadoes. Look at the small things. Sometimes within the details, larger things reside. To preface this one, I work as an environmental consultant, so occasionally I get to go out to the refineries in the area, up to Anacortes, to Tesoro and Shell, and then to Phillips up there. So this I wrote one day while I was in the refinery. I've got a hot date. Dressed in my refinery, she's a crude mistress. Acts of poetry, just metaphornication. The words doing it. Yeah, I know, you like that metaphornication? Yeah, I know, that's a good, huh? of poetry. Just metaphornication. The words doing it. Yeah, I'll leave you. This will be my last haiku. Monkeys love the sun, not for money, but for nuts. The sun warms their nuts. Okay, these ones are kind of about me. I have a fish swimming inside me, and being a fish, he has no ears, but he still hears, I'm sure of it. Sound waves, light waves, thought waves. The vibrations jiggle his watery vessel, transmitting the waves through his slimy skin, stimulating his special fishy sense organs, which tell him things. He can hear everything, I'm sure of it. He doesn't talk to me. I mean, I'm not crazy. Fish can't talk. But over the years, I've learned to listen to his moods. He's pretty mellow mostly, and he reads people pretty well, but he gets very crabby when too many vibrations, too many waves bombard his watery vessel, overstimulating his special extra fishy sense. It's then when he can be the hardest to live with. I've never tried to communicate with him to find out how he sees himself or his world. I've never even waved. I don't see the point. He hears everything. Besides, I don't believe he even knows I'm a person, or for that matter, alive. I'm pretty sure he just thinks I'm the ocean. I did bring it, but it's a little bit. All right, I'll read that one. Okay.
Read it last.
All right. I took my watch off for 2 weeks and lived. I measured the time in the miles from where I was before. I measured the time with the rise and fall of the color in my henned hands. Henned hands. I measured the time by the movement of the Milky Way across the desert sky. I measured the time by the number of logs I added to the warming fire. I measured the time by the formation of friendly faces in the clouds. I measured the time by the laughter of the ravens in the rain. I measured the time by the frames in the movie made by the sweep of the wiping blades. I measured the time by the coffee cup, each one giving me a quantum boost. I measured the time relative to my frame of reference, relevant to me. I measured the time by the tick, tick, tick of the rocks in my tires upon the road less traveled, free from any binding bonds and traveling without bounds. I took my watch off for 2 weeks and lived a different way. Shell and I, in September, took a long road trip, down into Colorado. We went down through Oregon, down into the desert southwest, stayed outside of Canyonlands. That was just awesome. And then came up through Denver, or into Denver, over the Rockies and Loveland Pass, and then up through Jackson Hole and saw the Grand Tetons, and then stayed at Yellowstone, and then came back along the Clark Fork across in Idaho. It was a great time. So that's the 2 weeks I was talking about there, where I took my watch off, and I didn't die. I walked backwards towards the sea and stopped when my feet got wet, afraid of the deep. I called out to the ocean, to the crabs and to the krill, to the salmon and the sea lion, the halibut and the harbor seal, the cod and the coral, the herring and the heron. I called out slowly and loudly because I am foreign to them, so they could understand my words. I asked the sea, where? I asked the sea, why? I asked the sea, how? And a passing kingfisher laughed at me, or told me to go ask the starfish, or to get the hell off his beach. I don't know. I am foreign to him. He spoke too quickly. Perhaps if he spoke a little slower and louder, I might understand. I'm still waiting for the answer.